Hey, it's Don, the Auction Professor. Today we're going to talk about one of those tools that's included for everybody with a basic eBay store level and above, and that's Terapeak. Terapeak was added in last summer. It's integrated with the system. It's been around for a while. It has been a paid service you had to pay for. Now, there's some good things about Terapeak, and there's just as many bad things about Terapeak. So let's go right over to Terapeak now. So if you go to Terapeak, all you have to do is log in with eBay. It'll take you to an eBay page. You'll punch in your normal login information to get into eBay, and boom, this is where it puts you. This is the opening screen as soon as you log into Terapeak. Now, I've just blocked off the very top because it does have email address and such forth in it, so I don't want to actually give that out. The main frame here, as you see, has all the basic information to search. It's set up for a year's worth of information. Now, you can go back farther than that as well. You can enter in all the usual numbers, ISBN, UPC, MPN, EAN, whatever you want to use. It has all the basics built in. You can select the different sites you want to use. So this is for all of eBay. You can go from country and all different other aspects of it. The basic part is putting the information here in the product tile. So let's just type in a search here. Let's pick Smash Bros. Brawl. I just got this, so let's just look this up here. And let's look it up for the Wii. Let's look it up for Wii. And it's going to give you all of the ones that have sold in the last year. Now, average price, the whole works. I don't look at the average price. I don't worry so much on things like this. It just depends on what you are selling. Now, if you're selling modern stuff like this, the prices are usually pretty good as gold. It's got actual sales, thousands of them for this very same game. Now, if you're looking up something vintage like I would sell, it's not going to have much choice. A lot of the people that list it may not use the same terminology, so you're not even going to see the same thing. So you've got to be very careful on the search criteria you use. But again, the information is there. It does have tons of information. As with Smash Brothers Brawl, there's 10,000 of them showing here. Now, I usually sort it by highest first because it's only going back a year. Now, had this gone back farther, it could be detrimental to go by price because things drop. And you can go back farther, as I said. Now, there's different qualities. This first one here is probably some, I wouldn't even begin to tell you, it's probably some joke would be my guess, or scam. But you can kind of get a real good judge on what the game goes for. You can sort it as well, too. Right now, it's limited to how many are on a page. I usually go by 50 at a time. Much easier to look at the information as well. This is the key here. Now, if you're selling something or looking for something that's in a specific category, it has that option as well. If you pick the category up here, you can go and actually pick the one that you want for it. Video games and consoles. And then there's more category-specific ones. So you can look for manuals, box art, video games accessories. Video game-specific would be more along the lines. So we can further dwindle this down and get rid of some of the garbage as well. Just like on eBay with item specifics and things like that. Now, it's just going to show it if it's in the title, obviously, so you can't really, I don't think you can, you can't break it down from lots and things like that, but you really can't on eBay as well. So you can get a good idea on prices here. This works great for items like this, that there's thousands of them around. Works great on clothing. It works great on a lot of different items. When it runs into a problem is when the listing on here is older than a certain date. We're going to open one up here. What you get is an error page telling you that what you were looking for isn't there anymore. And that's tons of them. That's the majority of what I go to look for has that same issue. They're not there. Now, I know eBay on their site only carries so much information up to 90 days, basically. But my issue with this and the fact that they don't have the information, like on PopPsych, which everybody knows I talk about it if you've watched my channel, I pay for the site. I can look at eBay listings from years ago on PopPsych. So PopPsych is able to buy the information, but we can't get it here with Terapeak. So that's a little frustrating. So if I want to look up records from a year, I can't use Terapeak and I can't use eBay. I have to go to PopPsych. And you got to be careful, too, on other sites, too, because the date of the information means a lot. So if it's a couple years old in some games, it might be a drastic difference in price. So you've got to be very careful when you're looking up the information. I usually don't go back more than a year on newer items. If it's vintage items, I go back farther just to see if there's a record of them ever selling. For those of you who use WorthPoint, which is another paid service, you can get this information on WorthPoint and actually look at many of the listings. But again, you can't look at them here on Terapeak. So for free, it's well worth spending your time. 85% of the items I have to look up, I can't use Terapeak for the most part on most any of it because it doesn't show detailed listings. From the thumbnail, it's not enough to distinguish harder to find items and collectibles from one from another. So like if it's a video game though, for like Smash Brothers Brawl, you can be very assured that it's the same game. It's in the same category, same everything. So you don't even need to see any other information other than the pricing. That's the biggest drawback on here, and it's a detriment to people trying to look up collectibles. You can find the basics, you can get an overall general idea, but you can't be 100% sure you're looking at the same item. You have no way to know on the condition. So like if I'm looking up a record in here, let's just pick Elvis 45. So if I'm looking up a Elvis 45, now same thing comes up. You get a whole bunch of them up. You get this average price, which means nothing for a collectible because the price range for an Elvis 45 could range from thousands to $1 or $2. So you've got to understand the information. Now, on the video game Smash Brothers, the average price is semi-accurate considering the amount that you can see, 6,000 or more, up to 10,000 copies of it sold. So an average price over 10,000 units is very accurate compared to 3,300 of varying types of 45s. There's 1,000 different 45s that Elvis may have been on, so it's useless, a lot of the information you see up here. Items sold, 13,000 items, $400,000. Again, useless information because if you don't have the right 45, it means nothing. Now let's just look from the average price. Now if you click again, the average price, it's going to give you the highest priced ones. And some individual ones go for $4,500 on their own. So that's why I say you can't use a lot of this information. Again, if it's something new, a pair of specific Nikes, a specific book with a specific edition, that's all good as gold information, and you can use the average price, you can use the items sold, and get yourself an idea on how much it would cost. You can also judge the shipping on them, shipping averages, which is way higher than I actually bill. But there's other aspects because there's going to be lots with Elvis in it. So some of the prices for shipping may include large lump sums, those with insurance. So if somebody's sending out a $5,000 disc, is definitely going to have insurance on it. So the cost of that is greatly increased the shipping rate. So take that into consideration. Now again, I can go and look and we can open up some of these, the newer ones, the ones from the few months ago, and then we can see the actual listing here and judge on that. So you can see the condition, you can see all the statements. But if you want to compare something from a year ago, that option just isn't here for this. And again, if you're not doing vintage and collectibles and things like that, it may not be important to you. So Terapeak would be definitely something you would want to use because it goes back more than the 90 days that eBay itself shows. Now let's just categorize this so it shows the oldest last. And the same basic thing again. Let's open up this 45 right here. If you want to look at condition or anything else in it, error page is all you get. That's the biggest problem I have with this. Every time I want to find something, I get that error message. It happens most of the time with me because I'm searching for odder items that may not have sold in the last 90 days at all. So most of the items are going back farther than Terapeak will look. But other than that, big issue for me may not be for you, so I would honestly recommend using Terapeak. It's included with basic eBay store levels and above. And you can narrow everything down to, as I said, category. You can click all of these different ones to figure out specifics on it. Let's just go to music and knock off some of the other items here. So we can go to music. Another category here, we can go to records. And I do believe it'll let you break it down even farther in records here. Let's just see. Again, I don't use Terapeak for records mostly because I still have to go to Pop Psych for the most part. And that's what I'll use is Pop Psych. There's trending, there's sellers, predictions, inventory ideas. There's other options here. None of that is any good for this type of item because you're not going to find it all the time. You never know what you're going to find. So, and on here too, some of this information is useless. Like, let's go to unsold listings. It's not there because that's not what it covers. So, you know, you just got to be careful on this. Trending, in my opinion, is useless as well. It just has charts on prices and things like that, which just really doesn't give you any information. The sellers that sell these items doesn't give you much information. There's no specific names on here or anything like that. There's no specifics. There's no way to click on these and see what's going on from here. Again, useless information. You can bump it up to 50 and see the same useless information. So there's a lot of just junk on Terapeak. So inventory ideas, same thing, junk. I don't worry about any of this stuff because all of these items are considered an inventory or recommendation from them. So it's just pointless. They're just going to give you a bunch of records that's not going to be any use. And this goes for any antique or collectible field you sell in. Forget even trying to find a postcard in here relevant-wise. You know, you'd have better luck just on eBay and just going with the last 90 days or your own personal knowledge. But other than that, you can look up all kinds of stuff. Let's look up Mark's tank. Again, something I just sold. Same basic thing. You're going to run into the same issues. Now, you can't tell which tank. Now, let's sort this a little bit here so we can get rid of some of the stuff that's not what we want. So, toys. See how far we can search. And again, some of the category specifics aren't available in here. Let's see if it has... Yeah, it's probably not going to have the playset category. Oh, yeah, it might just have it. Playsets is what we're looking for. Playsets right there. So here we are. Let's just see what it has here for us. So here's some of the same tanks I've just sold for 30 and 45 bucks. And you can see the average price just isn't there. 21, 18, 19, 13 for the same tank that I get 30 for. I've talked about splitting stuff up. Here's a person who sold, let's see, a bunch of vehicles for 30 bucks for all of them. And this is some good information for this as long as you know. Now here's two of the same tanks I sold for 30 and 45 for 20 for two of them. I could have almost bought those and turned around and resold them, but it's not worth all the shipping and risk and factors in it. But again, you can see I've sold mine for more than all these other people. But anyway, you can see it gives you some good information if it's something very specific and you can understand the information on what you're looking for. If you're a novice and you don't understand or don't know about the specifics you're looking up, hoping to find some information on Terapeak, you're not going to be able to look into some of these details if they're over 90 days. So that is a detriment to your ability to research. You'd do better off just doing a Google Chrome search or something like that. Again, I know the items here, so for me it's easy enough just to look this way though. So just know enough to be able to use the information that you have. Terapeak can be good for certain items, especially those new items. It'll give you an average and a running, total on what they've been going for. It'll give you projections as well. You can guesstimate what you should charge for some items as long as they're newer items. But again, with the older items and vintage and collectibles, you run into the gambit. So if your item's over 90 days, you're going to get that error and you're not going to be able to look at the listing itself. You're only going to be able to look at a thumb and a title and a price, which may not be helpful to you. So many other sites will have that information where you can still look at the inside information such as the description and details, but Terapeak doesn't have that ability. Just the same cutoff points basically as eBay has, which is 90 days or thereabouts. So as I said, it's semi-useful. It just depends on what you sell. For me, 15% of the items I could look up, I could use Terapeak for. The other 85% of them, Terapeak's pretty much useless for. So if you don't sell what I do, Terapeak could be a huge plus to you. If you sell my items, it's going to be running in the same gamut of issues I have, where you can't look at the listing to see actually what the item is. All you can go by is a thumbnail. There's no other way to look at it. You can't click in on the thumbnail as well, so you can't blow up the thumbnail to see anything else about it. But anyway, that's what I have for you today. Well, there you go. Hopefully that gave you some ideas and some thoughts. If you enjoyed the video, please hit that like button down below. You can also hit the bell icon to be notified if I post new content or go live. Subscribe and tell a friend.